Welcome back to the Nomis Hunter, where today we dive into one of the most unbelievable and curiosity-igniting discoveries in the entire world of coin collecting, a story that grips both new collectors and veteran numismatists because it revolves around a tiny piece of metal you might walk past every day, yet in an unimaginable twist. This particular 1970D dime is said to be worth a jaw-dropping $79 million due to the extraordinary combination of minting errors, striking, anomalies, mechanical mishaps, and rare production mistakes that all collided in a way almost impossible to replicate, creating a coin so unique, so controversial, and so intensely sought after that it has become a legend whispered among collectors, bargain hunters, and treasure seekers who scour their loose change, hoping to find the next multi-million-dollar rarity. And the moment you hold a dime like this in your hand, you're essentially holding a piece of unpredictable mint history, a piece of locked-in mystery, and a piece of potentially life-changing value. So today, let's explore how a small 10-cent piece transformed into a treasure so valuable that it has captured the imaginations of collectors across the globe, starting with the understanding that the Denver Mint, like all mints, was responsible for striking millions of coins in 1970, and because of the huge production load, rapid output, and pressure to maintain supply, certain batches of dies may have slipped through quality checks, causing an array of mistakes that produced a handful of coins with double strikes, off-center misalignments, dramatic die breaks, missing elements, planchet mix-ups, transitional errors, and pressure inconsistencies, each of which alone could make a dime worth hundreds or thousands. But when multiple errors coincide on the same coin, the value rises exponentially. And for the rumored $79 million dime, the fascination begins with a possible off-metal strike scenario where the coin may have been struck on a foreign or transitional planchet never intended for that year, meaning instead of the normal copper-nickel clad composition, the coin might show a completely unexpected metal signature, a composition error so extreme and so rare that it pushes the coin instantly into the realm of major numismatic treasures because off-metal strikes from the 1970s are extremely scarce. And when combined with the Denver Mint mark, it narrows the population even further, making it almost one of a kind. Now imagine layering on top of that an ultra-sharp double die obverse where the date, mint mark, and lettering appear with ghost-like doubling, producing a surreal three-dimensional effect highly prized in the collecting world, especially when the doubling is bold and unmistakable, because collectors compete fiercely for strong double dies with dramatic visual presence. And the presence of doubling on a Denver-struck dime from this era would already be impressive, but when it's linked to a coin with other errors, its value skyrockets. Now combine this with a misaligned die strike where the obverse or reverse is slightly rotated or off-center while still maintaining a full date and full mint mark, because rare rotated dies add a layer of unpredictability, reflecting a moment when the press and dies failed to sync perfectly, producing an eye-catching anomaly that collectors admire deeply since these errors are accidental moments frozen forever in metal. Then consider the possibility of an incomplete strike or a weakly struck region due to pressure variations, causing certain details to blur, fade, or disappear while others remain sharp, proving the coin experienced uneven force distribution during minting, another sign of mechanical failure that increases rarity. Next, imagine a die crack or die break running across part of the coin like a small lightning strike. A raised ridge of metal showing where the die had fractured, and because severe die cracks indicate a failing die nearing the end of its life, they become highly collectible, especially when combined with other major errors. And on this coin, the rumors suggest the presence of a dramatic jagged die break, crossing a major design element, adding yet another layer of uniqueness. Then stack on top the possibility of a clipped planchet where a portion of the coin's edge appears bitten off due to a misfeed during the blank cutting process, leaving a curved or straight missing segment that instantly marks the coin as an error. And suddenly you're looking at a dime that isn't just a mistake, it's a cluster of mistakes, a miracle of minting oddities packed into one small piece of metal, an accidental masterpiece that defies logic. And because such a combination is almost impossible to recreate intentionally, the rarity factor becomes astronomical, and rarity directly affects value, which is why collectors are willing to pay fortunes for coins that represent once in a lifetime. Minting anomalies now factor in provenance because when a coin like this gains attention, it often becomes surrounded by mystery, speculation, private sales, and whispers of record-breaking offers, sometimes driven by wealthy collectors eager to own the only known example of a massive multi-error dime from 1970 bearing the Denver Mint mark. And whenever such a coin has a chain of ownership that includes prominent collectors or auction interest, the hype amplifies the perceived value even further, especially if experts confirm layered errors that appear legitimate under magnification. And the very idea that a dime accidentally created half a century ago could today command $79 million sends shockwaves through the coin community because it proves that treasures still hide in everyday change, waiting for the right pair of eyes to recognize them. And what truly fuels the legend of this dime is the unpredictable nature of minting errors, because unlike standard coins which follow strict patterns and controls, error coins are born from chaos. And it is this chaos that excites collectors, giving each error coin its own personality, its own story, and its own unpredictable future path in the collector's market. And if a coin carries multiple major errors, and if it is the only confirmed piece with that specific cluster of mistakes, its rarity becomes absolute. And absolute rarity paired with intense demand leads to price levels that sound impossible but reflect the psychology of elite collectors who compete fiercely for one-of-a-kind artifacts. And that is why this $79 million figure exists, because when you combine rarity, error complexity, historical interest, mystery, provenance, collector demand, and the thrill of owning something nobody else possesses, value transforms rapidly from mere dollars into extraordinary sums. And this is why every collector watching the Numis Hunter today should check their pocket change, their old jars, their inherited boxes, their forgotten drawers, and their dusty coin folders, because legends like this remind us that a single dime, especially a 1970D dime with even one major error, could be hiding in plain sight. And though not every error is worth millions, even small anomalies can bring impressive premium value, rewarding anyone who looks closely, studies details, and never underestimates the potential of a simple, everyday coin. And so, as we explore the story behind this astonishing dime, we also explore the thrill of numismatics, the excitement of discovery, and the endless possibilities waiting in the world of coin hunting, proving once again that with patience, knowledge, and curiosity, even the smallest piece of metal can hold the biggest surprises. And that is the magic that keeps collectors searching, learning, and dreaming every single day on the Numis Hunter. Next, 1989 P dime that has become a legend in the numismatic world. A coin so rare, so baffling, and so overloaded with layered errors that collectors across the world remain fascinated, wondering how such a small coin could reach such an unimaginable figure. And today we explore the journey of that incredible dime, the universe of errors that make it so valuable, and the reasons why a dime from 1989 with a Philadelphia mint mark can transform from pocket change into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Starting with the fact that error coins from the 1980s are already attractive to collectors due to high mint production volumes, evolving mint machinery, and occasional inconsistencies during mass output, meaning mistakes could slip through unnoticed. But what makes this particular 1989 P dime so extraordinary is the extreme combination of multiple major errors occurring on the very same coin, turning it into a numismatic miracle that collectors dream of finding. And the story begins with the possibility of an off-metal strike, where instead of being struck on the usual copper-nickel-clad planchet, the dime may have been minted on a foreign or transitional planchet left over from previous production cycles, something that happened rarely, but enough to feed stories about coins struck on unexpected metal blanks. And such a dramatic composition error is always the first major marker for extreme value, because a wrong planchet strike instantly removes a coin from the ordinary population, pushing its rarity into microscopic territory and making it wildly desirable among collectors who prize unpredictable minting outcomes. But that alone wouldn't justify a price approaching $37 million. So now let's imagine this wrong planchet dime also features a strong double die obverse, where the date, lettering, and portrait exhibit shadow-like doubling, a doubling that is bold, visible, and unmistakable, the kind that sets off excitement among collectors the moment it's spotted under magnification. And double die errors on dimes from the 1980s are not common, making them high-value anomalies. But when coupled with an off-metal strike, they create an ultra-rare combination that elevates the coin to an entirely new tier of numismatic importance. Now imagine that on top of these two errors, the coin also displays an off-center strike where the design is shifted noticeably toward the rim without losing the full date and mint mark, creating a visually dramatic misalignment highly valued by collectors, especially when the off-center percentage is significant but not enough to erase key elements. And this type of error requires a feeding malfunction in the minting press, meaning the blank planchet entered the striking chamber incorrectly, resulting in a coin that is instantly recognizable as an error piece. And because off-center errors on dimes with full date and mint mark are already rare, they add yet another layer of extreme desirability to the coin. And if that wasn't enough, imagine the coin also has a rotated die strike, where the obverse and reverse don't align perfectly when flipped, showing a rotation error caused by the dies becoming loose or improperly installed. And rotated dies create a dramatic effect that collectors absolutely love because it gives the coin a surreal, misaligned, twisted quality that stands out immediately when examined. Then imagine gaining another extraordinary element, such as a broad strike error, where the coin was struck without the collar in place, allowing metal to spread outward, creating a wider, flatter, stretched appearance, further proving the mint machinery lost control during the coin's creation, and thus adding to the mysterious nature of its minting process. Now consider stacked on top of all that the presence of a strong die crack or die break, perhaps running across Roosevelt's portrait or through the reverse torsion branches. A raised line of metal showing where the die fractured. During striking and dramatic die cracks always raise collector interest because they represent the physical deterioration of mint equipment, and coins struck after significant die damage are always rare since dies are replaced once major cracks are detected, making coins with large die breaks extremely limited in number. And to intensify the uniqueness further, imagine a coin also has a clipped planchet, where part of the rim is removed in a clean curved or straight segment due to mishaps during the blank cutting stage, creating a coin that not only carries major striking errors, but also carries a pre-strike planchet error, forming a combination almost impossible to recreate intentionally and magnifying its rarity to unimaginable levels. And what makes the rumored $37 million 1989 P dime so legendary is that it doesn't rely on a single error, but rather a layered, catastrophic sequence of mint failures all occurring on one single coin, making it a once-in-a-lifetime minting anomaly born out of pure mechanical chaos. And extreme combinations like this push value into ranges that shock even seasoned experts, because when a coin possesses multiple mega errors, and when it becomes the only known example of its type, collectors with deep pockets compete fiercely to acquire it, driving prices higher and higher. And the reason collectors pay such astronomical sums for coins like these is rooted in rarity, desirability, historical intrigue, and the thrill of ownership, because a coin like this becomes more than metal. It becomes a story, a phenomenon, a numismatic relic that cannot be duplicated, since minting accidents of this scale are exceedingly rare and unpredictable. A coin that represents something extraordinary trapped in a moment of mechanical malfunction, and the fascination grows even deeper when provenance enters the picture. Because once a coin like this appears in private collections or whispered auction inquiries, its reputation expands, its mystery deepens, and its perceived value rises, especially when it is confirmed as a genuine, multi-error, impossible to replicate specimen. And as collectors learn about the unique combination of off-metal striking, strong doubling, off-center misalignment, dramatic rotation, broad strike expansion, planchet clipping, and die cracking, the coin becomes not just rare, but almost mythic in nature. Something that carries the personality of a minting disaster preserved forever in metal. And because only one example with this exact combination may exist, the coin becomes priceless, and priceless coins enter the realm of multi-million-dollar trading, where rarity and desire overpower logic. And the legend of the $37 million 1989 P dime serves as a powerful reminder for collectors and viewers of the numis hunter that extraordinary treasures still hide in everyday change, and that even modern coins from the late 1980s can contain life-changing errors waiting to be discovered, encouraging every viewer watching this to keep checking pocket change, inherited coin jars, old drawers, forgotten stashes, and bank-wrapped rolls. Because anyone can stumble upon a rare error coin capable of turning a normal day into a moment of incredible fortune. And while not every 1989 P dime is worth millions, those with even one significant error can bring impressive value, rewarding the sharp-eyed collector who knows what signs to look for. And that is the magic of coin hunting, the thrill of possibility, the excitement of uncovering something overlooked for decades, and the endless hope that the next coin you examine might be the one that transforms your life. And that is why we explore these stories on the Numis Hunter, to fuel curiosity, inspire discovery, and remind every collector that hidden treasures still exist, even in the smallest, simplest coins in your pocket. Next, 1991 P dime rumored to be worth an incredible $18 million due to its extraordinary combination of minting errors, mechanical malfunctions, and production anomalies that make it one of the most sought-after error coins in numismatic history. And as we explore this fascinating piece of mint chaos, we'll take you through every possibility, every mistake, and every unexpected flaw that could transform a simple 10-cent piece into a treasure with a value beyond imagination. Starting with the idea that the Philadelphia Mint in 1991 was producing millions upon millions of coins at rapid speed, and with massive output always comes the potential for mechanical fatigue, misalignment, die deterioration, feeder finger issues, planchet irregularities, and quality control lapses, any one of which could produce error coins worth good money. But when multiple errors collide on a single coin, the rarity skyrockets to levels so extreme that elite collectors become willing to pay astonishing prices for the privilege of owning a unique, unrepeatable masterpiece of minting malfunction. And the first major factor that could push a 1991 P dime into the multi-million-dollar category is the possibility of an off-metal planchet strike, meaning the dime may have been struck not on its usual copper-nickel clad blank, but on a leftover foreign or wrong denomination planchet, such as one used for a 5-cent or foreign coin intended for export. And when a dime is produced on a planchet of incorrect weight, incorrect thickness, or incorrect alloy, this alone makes the coin extraordinarily rare, because off-metal strikes in the 1990s are scarce due to tightening mint protocols, and collectors compete fiercely for them, especially when they carry a full date and mint mark. But that is only the beginning, because the coin in this legendary $18 million story is said to exhibit strong doubling on the obverse, the kind of dramatic double die error where Roosevelt's profile, the date, the word liberty, and the phrase "in God we trust" appear with ghost-like shadowing, a doubling caused by a die that shifted between hubbings or a mechanical slip in the die creation stage, producing a deep, unmistakable spread that collectors crave due to its bold appearance and its rarity on late 20th century dimes, and when an off-metal strike combines with a strong double die. The rarity compounds exponentially because each error multiplies the value of the next. And imagine adding to those errors a spectacular off-center strike where the design is noticeably shifted toward one side, leaving a crescent of blank planchet visible while still preserving the full date and mint mark, a combination extremely desirable because off-center errors with complete dates are always more valuable, and off-center errors of more than 10% on dimes of the early 1990s are not easy to find in high grade, making them premium collectibles. But now imagine the reverse also shows misalignment due to a rotated die, meaning when you flip the coin vertical, the reverse design does not sit perfectly upright, instead twisted at a noticeable angle because the reverse die was improperly installed or loosened during production, and rotated die errors create a visually stunning, unexpected twist in the design that collectors love, especially when the rotation is dramatic. And now layer on potential die cracks stretching across the portrait or reverse design, jagged raised lines created by fractures in the die face as it wore down under massive pressure. And when cracks grow large or intersect key elements, they create major collectible value because they indicate a failing die that should have been replaced immediately, but somehow continued striking coins long enough for a few error specimens to escape into circulation. And then imagine the coin also carries a broad strike error where the collar failed to hold the planchet in place, causing the coin to expand outward in a flattened, stretched appearance, removing the normal reeded edge and creating a wide, pancake-like rim that instantly signals a striking environment gone wrong. And broad strikes on dimes with other errors are extremely rare because multiple simultaneous machine failures are almost impossible to replicate. But the chaos doesn't stop there because this legendary 1991 P dime is also rumored to have a clipped planchet, meaning a portion of the coin's edge appears neatly cut off due to a blanking misfeed during sheet punching, and clipped planchets are immediately identifiable, instantly collectible, and when combined with multiple other errors create unstoppable value, especially when the clip aligns perfectly with metal flow indicators, proving authenticity rather than post-mint damage. And to further intensify the uniqueness, imagine a mishub design element appearing on the reverse where the flame of the torch or the olive branch details appear incomplete due to a hubbing weakness, or a partially damaged die, adding yet another layer of minting irregularity to a coin already overloaded with rare features. And with this combination of error possibilities, off-metal strikes, strong double die obverse, off-center misalignment, rotated die, broad strike anomaly, die cracks, clip planchet issues, and incomplete hubbing, the coin becomes a minting disaster in the most magnificent way. A masterpiece of mechanical failure that stands completely alone, impossible to counterfeit, convincingly and impossible to recreate, placing it into the category of coins that wealthy investors, elite collectors, and private auction houses chase aggressively, bidding into the millions simply for the right to possess something that is the only one of its kind. And part of the reason this coin can reach a value as staggering as $18 million is the power of absolute rarity, because a coin that stands alone at the very top of its error type becomes not just a collectible, but a trophy, an artifact, a symbol of ultimate ownership in the world of numismatics. And collectors pay astronomical amount for trophies because they know another example will never appear, and provenance also fuels the value, because once a coin like this is rumored to exist, whispers spread, interest increases, hype builds, and the coin gains mythic status whether it is held privately, shown briefly, or evaluated by experts who cannot believe the number of overlapping errors existing on a single small dime from 1991. And stories like this ignite passion among collectors because they prove that even modern coins minted only a few decades ago can hide rare treasures waiting to be found in pocket change, drawers, old jars, inherited collections, and random rolls from the bank, reminding everyone watching the Numis Hunter that extraordinary coins do not only exist in the distant past. And even coins made in the 1990s can carry life-changing value if they contain the right combination of minting mistakes. And this inspires collectors everywhere to look more closely, to study details, to learn error types, and to never dismiss a simple coin simply because it looks ordinary at first glance. Because the difference between a normal dime and an $18 million dime can be as small as a faint doubling, a slight rotation, a misplaced strike, or a tiny clip that transforms a common piece into a world-class rarity. And that is why coin hunting remains one of the most exciting hobbies in the world, offering endless surprises and the possibility that the next extraordinary discovery might be sitting unnoticed in your pocket right now, waiting for your eyes to find it. And that is the magic we celebrate here every day on the Numis Hunter. Next, 1981 D dime that has become the center of one of the most unbelievable numismatic legends ever told. A coin rumored to be worth an incredible $29 million due to an extraordinary combination of minting mistakes, mechanical malfunctions, planchet anomalies, and striking errors so rare that the coin has achieved mythical status. And as we dive into this extraordinary story, you'll discover how a small 10-cent piece, minted more than 4 decades ago, transformed from ordinary pocket change into a multi-million-dollar treasure simply because a perfect storm of minting chaos occurred during its creation, beginning with the understanding that the Denver Mint in 1981 was responsible for producing massive quantities of circulating coinage. And with such enormous production pressures came increased chances of mechanical strain, worn dies, feeder finger malfunctions, planchet irregularities, and quality control oversights, any of which could produce collectible errors. But the dime in this legend is not famous for one mistake. It is famous because it contains multiple mega errors all stacked together, creating a rarity so extreme and so unlikely that collectors who know error coins instantly recognize it as something that could never happen again in exactly the same way. And the first major possibility that makes this 1981 D dime so valuable is the off-metal planchet strike theory, suggesting the coin may have been minted on a blank mint for a foreign coin, or even a leftover transitional alloy not intended for circulation in 1981, meaning the dime could exhibit unusual color, unexpected weight, or a different metal composition altogether. And off-metal strikes are among the rarest and most sought-after errors because they occur only when mishandled planchets slip into the wrong production line, something that becomes increasingly unusual as mint procedures tighten over the years. And when a dime is found struck on an unexpected planchet, its rarity instantly skyrockets, making it a potential treasure. But the magic of this legend doesn't stop at composition, because this dime is also said to display a bold double die obverse, the kind of unmistakable doubling where Roosevelt's profile, the date, the lettering, and the mint mark appear with thick shadow-like outlines due to a hubbing misalignment during die creation, a dramatic form of doubling that collectors cherish due to its clarity and rarity. And when a strong double die appears on a coin already suspected of being an off-metal strike, the rarity compounds exponentially, making the coin significantly more desirable and valuable. Now imagine adding a dramatic off-center strike to the mix, where the entire design is shifted to one side, exposing a noticeable crescent of blank planchet, while still preserving the full date and mint mark. A visual anomaly that collectors adore because off-center errors with complete identifying features are far more valuable and much harder to come by. And when this off-center strike is paired with unusual composition and strong doubling, the coin becomes an instant numismatic marvel. But next, consider the possibility of a rotated die strike, where, when you flip the coin vertically, the reverse design sits noticeably twisted instead of aligning perfectly upright, a phenomenon caused by a loose or improperly installed die. And rotated die errors create a striking visual twist that collectors treasure, especially when the rotation is significant, 15 degrees, 20 degrees, or more. And when combined with other major errors, this helps form a once-in-a-lifetime collectible. And the chaos doesn't end there, because this remarkable dime is also rumored to feature dramatic die cracks across the obverse or reverse, raised jagged lines caused by fractures in the die surface as it weakens. In large die, cracks indicate a die that should have been pulled out of service, yet somehow continued striking coins, meaning only a small number of specimens escaped before the die failed completely, making them exceptionally rare, especially when the cracks cut through key design elements like Roosevelt's jawline, the torch, or the lettering. Now imagine layering on a broad strike error, where the collar meant to contain the coin during striking was absent or malfunctioning, causing the coin to expand outward into a wider, stretched shape with a smooth rim instead of the normal reading, proving that the striking conditions were completely unstable at the moment this dime was minted, and broad strikes combined with off-center strikes and multiple die errors create numismatic unicorns. Coins essentially impossible to intentionally reproduce and therefore priceless. And then consider the possibility of a clipped planchet, where a portion of the rim appears cleanly cut away due to a blanking misfeed during sheet punching, leaving a curved or straight missing segment that immediately identifies the coin as a planchet error. Piece and clip planchets are already valuable, but when you add this to off-metal composition, doubling, off-center misalignment, rotation, broad strike distortion, and die cracking, the coin begins to surpass even the rarest known error combinations, becoming a masterpiece of minting failure and accidental brilliance. And collectors understand that when multiple major errors collide on a single coin, rarity doesn't merely increase, it explodes, pushing the value into levels normally reserved for trophy pieces, which is exactly why collectors whisper about a $29 million price tag. Because a coin with so many stacked errors becomes a one-of-one artifact, the kind of piece that never appears twice in history, making wealthy collectors, private investors, and auction houses willing to offer unimaginable sums for the privilege of owning it. And value also comes from provenance. Because once a coin like this enters private collections, receives expert evaluation or gains attention in numismatic circles, its reputation grows, its mystery deepens, and its demand increases, making it more and more valuable as time passes, even if it never reaches public auction. And the legend of the 1981 $29 million dime continues to fascinate collectors and spark curiosity because it proves how unpredictable and thrilling coin collecting can be, showing that even a modern dime minted in the early 1980s can carry a life-changing secret hidden in plain sight. And this serves as a powerful reminder for every viewer of the Numis Hunter that incredible treasures still hide in pocket change, old jars, inherited collections, forgotten drawers, bank rolls, and dusty storage boxes, waiting to be discovered by anyone with the curiosity to look closely and the knowledge to recognize minting mistakes. And while not every 1981 dime is worth millions, even smaller errors such as minor doubling, subtle misalignments, or small clips can bring surprising value, proving that attention to detail always pays off in numismatics, and that the next big discovery could be sitting in your pocket right now. just waiting to be found. And that is why we continue exploring these extraordinary stories, because the thrill of discovery, the excitement of finding something rare, and the possibility that a simple coin could transform into a fortune is what keeps collectors searching, learning and dreaming every single day here on the Numis Hunter. Today we dive into the unbelievable tale of a 1994 dime that has stunned collectors, fueled rumors, and inspired countless searches, all because this tiny 10-cent piece is said to be worth an astonishing $12 million due to a combination of rare, dramatic, and nearly impossible minting errors that together create one of the most extraordinary mint anomalies ever imagined. And as we explore every detail, every possibility, and every layer of minting chaos that could elevate such a coin into multi-million dollar territory, you'll discover just how incredible and unpredictable the world of coin collecting can be, starting with the awareness that the Philadelphia Mint in 1994 was operating at rapid pace, producing millions of dimes under constant mechanical pressure. And with any mass production environment, the chance for unexpected mechanical failure always exists, meaning dies can shift, planchets can misfeed, equipment can loosen, cutters can misalign in quality. Control can miss the occasional mistake. But the coin at the heart of this legendary $12 million story is not just any error coin. It is a coin rumored to possess multiple mega errors stacked together, forming an impossible combination so rare that it stands alone as a numismatic marvel beyond anything seen in typical minting operations. And the first extraordinary feature believed to contribute to such a massive value is the possibility of a wrong planchet strike, meaning the dime may have been minted on a foreign planchet or on a blank mint for another denomination, something that produces unusual weight, strange coloration, or different metal composition. And off-metal errors are incredibly valuable because they occur only when a mismatched blank slips into the wrong machinery. A highly unlikely event, especially in the 1990s as quality control improved, making surviving examples extremely rare. And when a dime is struck on the wrong alloy, every collector immediately takes interest because such an error turns an ordinary coin into a true one-in-a-million collectible. But the magic of this 1994 dime doesn't stop with composition alone, because the coin is also said to feature a strong double die obverse, an error where Roosevelt's profile, the date, the lettering, and the mint mark appeared doubled with dramatic, shadow-like thickness due to a hubbing misalignment during die creation, creating bold, clear doubling that collectors love and which instantly boosts value, especially when found on a modern dime, because such dramatic doubling is rare after minting processes improved in the late 20th century. And adding such a bold double die to an off-metal strike begins to push the rarity into extremes. And now imagine that the coin also displays a significant off-center strike, where the design is shifted noticeably toward one side, exposing a blank crescent of the planchet while still retaining the full date and mint mark, a detail crucial for collector desirability, because off-center errors with full dates are exponentially rarer and far more valuable than those missing key identifiers, and substantial offsetter strikes on dimes from the 1990s are scarce, making this error alone highly collectible. But this legendary dime is also rumored to exhibit a rotated die error, where the obverse and reverse designs do not align when flipped, instead showing a twisted, skewed orientation caused by a loose or improperly seated die. And rotated die errors are visually striking, literally, because even a 15 or 20-degree rotation creates an instantly noticeable mismatch that collectors adore. And when this rotation is paired with off-center alignment and dramatic doubling, the complexity and rarity of the coin rise even further. Next, imagine severe die cracks stretching across the design, raised, jagged lines caused by fractures in the die surface as it deteriorates under pressure, and major die cracks indicate that the Minting press continued striking coins long after the die should have been replaced, meaning only a very small number of error coins escaped. And if the die break becomes extreme enough, it forms what collectors call a cud, a chunk of missing die, leaving a large blob of metal on the coin, which drastically boosts value due to rarity and visual appeal. Now picture the coin exhibiting a broad strike error as well, meaning the restraining collar failed during striking, allowing the rim to expand outward into a wider, flatter shape with a smooth edge rather than the normal reading. And broad strikes are already desirable on their own, but when combined with off-center strikes and rotated dies, they represent multiple simultaneous machine failures, something extremely difficult to replicate, making the coin even more unique and adding yet another dramatic layer. Imagine a clipped planchet error where a portion of the coin's rim appears cleanly cut away due to a blanking misfeed during planchet production, producing a curved or straight missing segment that signals a planchet defect before the coin was ever struck. And clipped planchets add significant value because they represent a different stage of minting malfunction than striking errors, meaning when pre-strike and post-strike errors appear on the same coin, the rarity becomes astronomical. Then imagine the reverse showing evidence of a misaligned die strike, where the reverse die alone shifted out of alignment, producing slight doubling or stretching visible around the torch, olive branch, or lettering. Another rare anomaly that adds to the layered complexity of this legendary coin. And when you put all of these possibilities together, an off-metal planchet, a strong double die, an off-center strike, a rotated die, a broad strike, major die cracks, a clipped planchet, and reverse die misalignment, you begin to understand how a coin like the rumored $12 million 1994 P dime becomes more than a coin. It becomes an impossibility, a once-in-a-lifetime minting accident that should never have occurred but somehow did, creating a masterpiece of mechanical chaos that collectors value not because of its size, but because of its complete uniqueness. And the reason a coin like this could realistically be valued in the multimillions is because rarity at this extreme level becomes priceless, and collectors with deep pockets, private investors, and high-end auction houses compete fiercely for such trophy pieces because they represent the pinnacle of numismatic collecting, the ultimate bragging rights, the knowledge that no other person on Earth owns anything remotely similar. And provenance only increases this value, because once a coin like this enters private hands, receives certification, or appears even briefly in high-level numismatic discussions, its fame grows and its perceived value increases dramatically due to its reputation as a minting miracle. And these legendary coins continue to fuel excitement and passion among collectors because they prove that incredible treasures still hide in circulation, including coins from the 1990s that most people overlook daily. And that is why here at the Numis Hunter, we remind every viewer to keep checking pocket change, coin jars, inherited boxes, estate finds, rolls from the bank, and old drawers, because extraordinary error coins are still out there waiting to be discovered. And while not every 1994 P dime is worth millions, even smaller errors such as light doubling, slight off-center strikes, or minor cracks can still carry impressive value, proving that paying attention to tiny details can be the key to uncovering life-changing discoveries. And that is the thrill of coin hunting, the excitement of the unknown, the adventure of searching for the next unbelievable treasure. And it's that same excitement that keeps collectors searching every single day here on the Numis Hunter.